see it clearly now. My place between two walls.
I've been honored to begin the story. I'm Jennifer Russell. Last April, I was performing right here in Studio City with my band Avalon. I remember the night was not unusual in any way. It was tax time, the recession had reached Southern California. Things were a bit gloomy. But there was one event that happened that evening, one ray of light that brought the whole evening together for me. I met Carmi Gallo. She had dropped in for a coffee with a friend and loved our music, and hearing that I was from East Africa, wanted to meet me. On our brief conversation that evening, she told me about Fauna Hodel and her movie Pretty Hattie's Baby, and she wanted to know if I'd written any songs concerning my childhood and the struggles that I had seen with racial tension. Well, being a missionary kid in Ethiopia is a bit different than being a white child given away at birth to a black family in Reno in the 50s. But I empathized with Fauna. I knew that our conflicts were probably very similar. I've always struggled with not being an African and not quite feeling like an American. The next day I began writing on my tribe. 1 week later, the verdict from the Rodney King trial was announced, and an angry Los Angeles went into a frenzy of brutality and violence. It was devastating. How could we still be so far from each other? It made me very sad. It also woke me up. Doesn't everyone know that what we do and what we think affects the whole world? And I realized how much work there was to be done. I continued writing the song, fumbling with words and my feelings and thoughts, trying to pull it all together. I was then able to meet Fawn on the phone. And in talking with her, I met a connection immediately, as I had with Carmi. I was then able to complete the song. In June, we all got together for an afternoon. Magic happened that day. They loved the song and emotions ran very deep. I also heard about David Jean and the painting that he was doing, interpreting a vision of Fauna's. The whole concept of universal powwow oneness began to take shape. I believe the message of peace must reach as many people as possible, as soon as possible. I know the survival series will help bring people together. It will help give people hope and the courage to stand up against prejudice. It will also help us take responsibility for our own spirituality and bring healing to our communities and planet. Our babies need a clear field.
But I know who I am, part of the family of man, and the color of my heart will always be love.
Hi, I'm Carmi Gallo, and I am honored to be part of the exceptional talents that encircle me, all creating the Survival Series, Universal Powwow, Oneness. Oneness, the essence that we all share. I was deeply touched by Jennifer's music. It embraced the spirit and the heart with very unusual vibrations. Only yesterday did we all finally meet in preparation for this special time. Over the past 10 months, and countries apart, all four of us have communicated through technology. But, like the four corners of the earth, four committed spirits came together, bringing the energy of the universal elements, earth, air, fire, and water, for the creation of the Survival Series. My very special friend and acclaimed international artist, David Jean, and I met many years ago when I was still involved in the fine arts world. I later decided to expand my creativity into the entertainment industry as a production designer. David's visions and creations are all very sensitive in relation to portraying world vibrations. We have all allowed ourselves to be open to universal messages, the messages of oneness to help heal the earth and to be responsible for our children. The strongest weakness that we have is our openness to be vulnerable to oneness. To love ourselves is to love the world. To love the world is to help heal our dear earth. To complete our circle, please meet Fauna Hodel, a very dear friend and sincere soul. We met while I was designing her feature film, Pretty Hattie's Baby, based on her life story. Her visions are clearly precise, and she has dedicated her life to bringing messages of oneness. Each of us realized that we learned more about the depths of the power of oneness every day. How wonderful it is to be able to express our love for this planet through the enchantment and the enhancement of music and art, world vibrations. It couldn't be clearer in my mind that all of us are responsible for the unity of oneness. The Survival Series is our way to help mankind flow freely with life, to embrace its precious moments and gifts, and to share all of its greatness through world vibrations that create harmony, peace, and love. Our hopes and prayers are that this wake-up message to the world is for the deaf to hear, the blind to see, and for all of us to feel world vibrations through music and art. Every tomorrow is a vision of hope. This is our gift, universal powwow, oneness.
David Jean. In 1991, I did a series of paintings honoring the Allies in the Gulf War. Friends of mine, at this time, right now in 1993, I now realize what I actually did. And my friends, Carmi, Fauna, and Jennifer, very much concerned of the strife and people fighting each other and brother against brother, sister against sister. What's it all for? We're fighting in the front yard while our mother's crying in the kitchen. Maybe she cut herself, maybe she fell down or whatever. She did. It's the earth. Our mother is the earth, and she's crying in pain. We're not doing a whole lot good right now, thinking of ourselves and indulging from the fruits of her labor at each other's throat, not realizing that she may bore another child, which will look at us as role models. We've been here now, and we've been trying constantly over and over again, and it seems that we're going nowhere. I think now is the time for us to be totally aware. We have to heal and help our mother. And I think this is why I'm here today with my friends, trying to contribute as much as I can with the Universal Powwow, Oneness, which was inspired by our Aboriginal peoples all over the world, where they come together in celebration rather than destruction. They come together for food and drink. They replenish the earth, and at least they try to. I think they can teach us a lot of things, that life is very precious. That's why in my paintings I do have the symbol of a water drop. Water is a symbol of sustaining life. We had a passing recently of a great lady, Audrey Hepburn, who had dedicated the fruits of her labor to helping children in Somalia. So let's do it for our children if we can't do it for ourselves. Listen to yourself. The oneness is within you.
Loved by many, owned by none. I am my tribe.
Hi, I am Fauna Hodel. From the time I was a little girl, I knew my story would be a major motion picture. I was determined to find a way to share it with people in a big way. How wrong it is to judge a person on their color. As a child, I was insulted every day of my life because of my skin color. Arrangements were made prior to my birth. My father black, my mother white, so my birth certificate stated. Back then, even if you were a quarter colored, you were considered tainted. My white grandmother arranged my giveaway. A friend of hers was solicited to find black parents to give me to. She found a maid in a gambling casino in Reno, Nevada. The maid was told the baby would darken. I never did. Many years later, I found out it had all been a lie. As I was growing up, my everyday experience was filled with prejudice. Whites hurled hatred looks to me. What was I doing with blacks? Blacks rejected me for my whiteness. I learned to live within myself. I played with the angels in my head. They were my friends. They were my companions. In 1965, I was 14 years old when the Watts riot started. I was petrified. I was mortified. I had great fear I would be killed, all because of my skin color. I wanted to wear my birth certificate to prove my color. It was a terrifying time. That terror resurfaced for me in the spring of 1992. The blazes of the LA riots had me in that same headspace. As I sat glued to my TV, monitoring the violence, my heart was breaking. Me, a very positive person, was being shattered. I felt there was never going to be hope for this earth. In this state, I experienced a vision. I was told man's inhumanity to man cannot continue much longer. The fires were sent to light the path. Mankind needed to go within and take a look at their bleached hearts and see that earth was bleeding. I saw a circle, people of all colors chanting, "Heal our hearts, heal our earth, we are one." The universal powwow, Oneness, the survival series, was born. The wake-up call, for we are all one. We ask you join our circle and hear our call, for we are all one.